football. Remember this over 2 legs. Spurs 1, Liverpool 0 then going into the second leg. Frank and Luis are with us, but Stevie, I just want to start with you. Everyone is talking about the incident and not the second yellow. Let's go over that first.
And one of the reasons we're talking about the incident is because how bad a game it was, because there really wasn't that many other incidents anyway. But it just so happened that this incident is what defined the game and what separated the two teams, because both teams were as bad as each other. Referees got it wrong. No question, Bergvall should have had a second yellow. And the fact that Tsimikas has to go off tells you that it's a bad challenge. But of course, the fourth official not letting Tsimikas back on the field leaves a hole at the back, which Tottenham take advantage of. I mean, that's part of the game. When you get a sniff, you've got to take it, and Tottenham did that. And in the end, it was a great strike from Bergvall. Just unfortunate. He shouldn't have been on the field. But listen, if you're Liverpool, you can absolutely moan about that. But you've got to look. Liverpool have to look at themselves. I mean, they basically carried on from where they left off against Man United. Their passing was awful, and they just never had any control of the game. The two things that they've done all season in almost every single game, great passing, controlling the match, none of that tonight.
It's a funny old game, Frank, isn't it? Because, just a few days ago, we had Ange Postecoglou complaining, obviously, that Spurs only lost to Newcastle because they weren't playing on a fair and level playing surface. Yet, this time, it's the decision, I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that goes in Spurs' way?
Yeah, football is very strange, and sometimes you have a bad karma, and the day after it's a fantastic one. And when you're lucky, when it's your day, it's really your day. I mean, that's incredible, because that game was very boring. You know, I predicted a win from Tottenham. I didn't expect to see that game. I thought Liverpool would come with a C team, so I think it's why Tottenham will win. But it wasn't the case. Liverpool came with, let's say, with a A.5 team, but it wasn't good. I mean, maybe because of the trauma of the Betancourt injury broke, some spirit, and players weren't there anymore. But that was bad. That was really bad from two teams who normally entertain the world with their football, but it wasn't there. And we needed bad referees and bad decisions to enjoy the game and to have something to talk about. Thank you very much, the 4 guys, and the VAR, because yes, Bergvall shouldn't have been on the field. Tsimikas should have been back, and Bergvall therefore wouldn't have scored. So, story to say, it's not fair for Liverpool, but I think it's not done yet. We have another leg, and I think Liverpool will do the job.
That's the rubbish part. Like whoever you support, just play it over one leg, Luis, because clearly that played on the Liverpool players' minds today, didn't it? They weren't as intense as we're used to seeing them all season, knowing you've got that second leg at Anfield to come.
Yes, definitely you play with the concern that you know that you're going to have another option. You don't want to be too open, and you play away and against a good Tottenham team. So you don't want to kind of lose the game for two goals or 3 goals. But definitely it was probably one of the less attractive Liverpools that we've seen so far this season. Very sloppy, very open, no control on the game. I think that in the end, it's true that even Van Dijk was talking about, yes, that decision of the referee not to sending off the player of Tottenham, and it was clear, but on his thinking about the team and everything, he knew that the team wasn't at the stage that they should have been playing against a strong side as Tottenham. But yeah, it's true that being the first game, if you want to have a bad game, you prefer to have it right now in the first leg of Carabao Cup than in the domestic league, in the Premier League or something like that. So I think that poor game for Liverpool, that reacted a little bit in the second half with the changes, but it was not good enough. And let me say something else. A player received a kick inside the box. I know that Steve is not going to agree with me, but it's a penalty. It's that clear like that. And if the referee is not going to call it, you got the VR to go and check it. They said now that they check it, they agree with the referee. It's a kick on a player of Liverpool into the box. That's a penalty. That's it.
Well, let's go down that road. Penalty or not?
Yeah. I mean, the way that Luis describes it, then you would assume, yeah, it's a kick of a player. The problem is that you can't really define whether actually there is contact with the player and where actually the kick actually existed. Now, listen, I'm not one who's going to stand here and say, don't go down, Curtis Jones. No. I'm all for Curtis Jones going down and trying to draw a penalty and trying to draw a foul. I just don't know that from the angles that we saw, you could say 100% this is something that should be given as a penalty. Overall, though, if I may say about Liverpool, Luis mentioned the word sloppy. I would go as far as to say careless performance from Liverpool. The amount of times that they kicked the ball straight out of bounds. I'm not even talking about completing the pass. I'm talking the ball just going straight out of bounds. And not because Spurs had pressure on the ball, not because Spurs were doing a great job defensively, just Liverpool lacking attention to little details that make all the difference in this game. And today, Liverpool were just not fully engaged in completing simple passes. That's not the way that we expect Liverpool to play, and give credit to Tottenham that have had all sorts of doubts and difficulties this season that said, well, you know what? At the very least, we're going to fight. And at the very least, we're going to make it difficult. They did so to the point to where they get a win.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to give Tottenham more credit than we are, Stevie, because if we were sat and Liverpool won 3-0, we'd be like, that's it, Ange's done. He's a dead man walking. As Ali said, your team is decimated. You're playing all these reserve players, yet you go toe-to-toe with a team who is considered one of the best in the world at the moment.
I don't agree with you, Dan.
Stevie, come on.
Well, Tottenham didn't play well either.
But they get the win.
Well, no, exactly.
They get the advantage.
Yeah, they've got the advantage, but they didn't do an awful lot to gain that advantage.
But it could
the reason they got the advantage is not on them.
This could have been so much worse here, couldn't it, for Spurs?
Well, let's just talk about what we saw. I mean, let's talk about what we saw. And what we saw were two teams that were really poor on the night. I mean, really poor. But it just so happened that Tottenham got that poor decision from the officials that they won the game. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's about winning the game. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the narrative.
But I'm not so sure we're going to run around slapping Spurs on the back for being bad.
No, but I think that's the narrative I'm spinning in if I'm Spurs, isn't it? You know, we've gone up against Liverpool. No one gave us a chance, and we've beaten them 1-0.
Yeah, well, you can spin it that way if you want. I don't see it that way. I'm looking at it not as a Tottenham or a Liverpool. I'm just looking at the game in itself, and neither side deserved to win. And Tottenham only won because the referees messed up.
I get that, Frank, but the thing is, Spurs are so desperate to hang their hat on something optimistic at the moment. This at least gives them an olive branch.
Yeah, you can get something out of it and say that you fought hard. And again, you have another injured player with Betancourt, but they kept on working and they did well for what we have seen before. And they fought hard. They showed their pride. I was quite impressed with Kinski as well in goal. I mean, I saw somebody with personality. He just signed for the club, and he already showed his talent. And I mean, it's a young team. Yeah, they are full of wandering, but they keep on working. And yeah, winning 1-0, first leg of the Carabao Cup. It's a kind of an achievement. I have to wait for the second leg because I'm so scared of what can happen at Anfield and the punishment that they can get out of there. So and enjoy what you can and see what you can do for that, what you can get out of it, but don't get carried away because you can be smashed back very soon.